Y'all, we're finally making those viral keto pasta noodles. Come on! This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Welcome to Highfalutin Low Carb, the almost weekly web series where we find and test the best low carb recipes this crazy internet has to offer. Today, we are finally trying those viral keto pasta noodles that everybody's talking about. Stay tuned. All right, guys, unless you've been under a keto rock somewhere, you have certainly seen the hubbub about these new viral keto noodles. Egg noodles, pasta, looks just like real spaghetti. These were created using a molecular gastronomy technique by a lady over at Keto Asian Flavours, the YouTube channel. And this busted out. I mean, this is the new fathead dough. This is the new hot thing, and everybody's doing it. And in fact, it has gotten so popular that it took me 2 weeks to get just the ingredients ordered. They're back ordered from Amazon and some other places. So just know that you might have to wait a little bit to get the ingredients unless they've restocked. But is it worth it? Are these worth trying? Well, we're going to find out, and we're going to try 3 different versions. We're going to try Keto Asian Flavours' original recipe, her second recipe that uses whole eggs instead of egg yolk powder, and then our buddy Steve over at Serious Keto, he created a version using canned chicken. So we're going to try all those now, so just stay tuned. Okay, so let's get started on our first recipe. Again, I'm going to put the link down here. There'll also be a video link in the video description for this video, as well as all the others we're going to test. This is the original recipe using egg yolk powder, and it is just 100% powdered egg yolk. This is what took me so long to get, actually. Had been back ordered and unfortunately was sent to another part of the country. Anyway, long story short, it requires 3 other ingredients that sound probably scary if you're not used to working with molecular gastronomy. Xanthan gum, we know what that is. We use it in baked goods to sort of hold things together, thicken sauces. I'm curious about how this is going to affect the taste and texture of the noodle. And then the other 2 things that I have never worked with are sodium alginate and calcium lactate. And the presence of these 2 things together, we're going to create a water bath and squeeze these noodles out of a little condiment ramekin container in this water bath and create this, it looks and feels, at least on video, like real pasta, spaghetti, or ramen. So we're going to try that now. I bought a small packages of these, and it's kind of pricey the first time you do this because you're going to have to buy all these weird little things. But I can see where if you were going to make this regularly, instead of getting the small container, buy the larger bulk containers. I'll leave links to all this down below so you can check it out if you so are inclined. Now, everybody does this in their blender, and they have a different kind of blender than I do. I love my Ninja, but I can't run my blender without the top on it. It's just a safety precaution, so I have to have the top. So you won't be able to see as much blender action goodness in the video as perhaps they did. But I'm going to mention some of the ingredients here. This is 3 cups of water, and we're just going to blend all of these ingredients together, but the blender needs to be running while that happens. So the first thing we're going to do is the egg yolk powder, and I'm going to go ahead and put that in. If you want to know exactly how much, again, go to her link down below, watch the video. It's very detailed. It doesn't look difficult, and in fact, it's going to happen pretty quickly. It needs to be done in a specific way. So I'm going to hopefully be able to talk over this loud blender, and I'm going to blend this, start on low now, and get this combined. Okay, so we've got our initial egg yolk and water going, and so I'm going to have to use this little pour spout here, and I've just made a little cheap funnel to hopefully get my other ingredients in, and I'm going to have to do this while it's running. So the first of those is lupin flour. This is a couple of tablespoons of lupin flour. She said it's optional, but she did use it, so I'm going to. Then we're going to add the sodium alginate. And then lastly is a little bit of sea salt and xanthan gum. And we're going to just let this run for 2 or 3 minutes to get it all combined. And I'm going to do that now, so you probably won't be able to hear me. I'll speed it up. Okay, so this really got nice and thick, and you can see it's kind of gelatinous. And now from here, this has got to sit for half an hour. See, there's not a lot of active work in this. Boy, that is thick. There's not a lot of active work in this, or even any cooking. All the ingredients are pre-cooked. I mean, you know, egg yolk powder doesn't need to be cooked. But it just takes a little waiting time because these need to sit up. So we've created a bunch of air right in this, and we need to get the bubbles out of this. So to do so, get out of there. Get out of the way. There's really no smell at all. So let's get this out of here. We're going to pour it in a bowl, and then this is going to sit for a half an hour, and all the bubbles will rise to the top so that we can skim them off. And then we will start with the second step of this, which is our water bath and extruding the noodles out of our condiment dispenser. So, but what I'm going to do is, while this is setting up, we know this is the first recipe with the egg yolk powder. Get out of there. Wow, it's weird. It's almost like pudding. Interesting. I am very interested in this. Okay, so we're going to just put this on the counter. Actually, I think she says put it in the refrigerator. So I'm going to put it in the refrigerator, and we're going to come back to this in 30 minutes, but I'm going to go on to her second recipe, which uses the whole eggs instead of egg yolk powder. I just want to see if it's close to the original, and if you can get away with not having to order the egg yolk powder. So I'm going to clean up, wash up, get started, and we'll be right here for the second recipe. See you in just a bit. All right, so we're back for our second version of this. This is also from Keto Asian Flavors, and this is her updated recipe. I'll leave a link to this video as well. Same exact recipe, but there's no lupin flour, and instead of the egg yolk powder, we're going to use boiled eggs. And so it's 2 whole boiled eggs and 1 egg yolk. So again, we've got our 3 cups of filtered water in our blender. I'm going to go ahead and throw in the eggs, and then we're going to get this started, and then I'm going to add in the same other ingredients. It's sodium alginate, xanthan gum, and salt. So literally 1, 2, 3, 4 ingredients for this is all it takes. So I'm going to do that now. You'll be able to see it while I speed it up, and then it's going to blend for about 3 minutes. And I'm going to pour it off just like we did our other one, refrigerate it, and let the bubbles rise to the top, okay? Okay, just worth mentioning, it's not a concern, but it is worth mentioning, this, the other recipe had no discernible odor really at all. I couldn't smell eggs, even though I'm using egg yolk powder. This smells strongly of boiled eggs. Like, again, I was not saying that's a bad thing, because she even described, a lot of people describe these as egg noodles, so, you know. Also, both of her recipes optionally used turmeric to make them yellow, more like traditional Italian pasta, you know. I left that out just because I didn't want anything to interfere with the flavor. The color really wasn't of concern to me. I really am more interested in finding out what this texture is about, and whether it carries a sauce, and whether it's any better than shiitake noodles and all those other options. Okay, so again, this is going to go in the fridge for about a half hour. Let the bubbles get off the top, rise to the top, so we can skim those off. I'm going to get cleaned up again. We're going to go for recipe number 3. This time it's with the canned chicken from Serious Keto. All right, I'll meet you right back here. All right, guys, so we're back for our third and final version of this recipe technique. Again, this is from Steve over at Serious Keto, and he uses canned chicken. I guess the combination of these components with the protein creates the final result here, is what I'm kind of guessing. So again, we've got our 3 cups of water filtered, and this is a canned chicken breast, a 5-ounce can of chicken breast that has been drained. So in that goes, and we're just going to, like we did our others, get this combined into a liquid a liquid chicken situation. And I'm going to tell you now, he uses about half of the sodium alginate that for Keto Asian Flavors does. And so I have opened this, I bought the small pack just to see if I wanted to try this and make it work. I'll have made 3 batches, and that's it. There's about a teaspoon of this left. So if you're going to make this frequently, as most people who have made it said they're loving it and are going to keep making it, maybe swing for the big container of that. So we're going to liquefy our chicken about 20 seconds, and then I'm going to slowly add in our other ingredients. It's just the xanthan gum, a little bit of xanthan gum, and our sodium alginate. Also, I'm going to add a little half teaspoon of salt, because the only chicken breast that I liked the macros for and the ingredients of, it was no salt added. So I just want to give it a little bit of flavor. But anyway, we're going to do that now. I'll speed all this up and you'll see it happen as it goes. All right. This decidedly has a very different odor than the others, obviously with the chicken involved here. And it's a little bit pink instead of the eggy yellow. And boy, it is an unusual consistency. This is a little thinner than the other, I guess because we used half of the sodium alginate in this versus our other recipes. So again, you know the drill. Pour it off, put it in the fridge, and let it rest so that we can get bubbles off the top. So I'm super interested in this. This is one of the more interesting things I've done here on the channel. And these are new techniques and ingredients for me, and I've never done any of this before. So we're learning together. Let's just hope it tastes good. So, all right. Get out of the way. Blech. All right, so I'm gonna, again, put this in the fridge. We're gonna let all these rest for a half hour, and then we'll come back and we'll spoon it off and we'll start from there, because then the fun starts, all right? The fun part's next. See you in just a bit. Now, before we begin, I need to give a huge thank you to the sponsor of this video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes for design, photography, web development, freelancing, and tons of other things. It's for creative and curious people like you and me. You're sitting here watching an instructional video, and as you imagine, this is what I do with my life. So you can imagine I'm a lifelong learner. I like watching educational content and instructional content. And when I first started learning about Skillshare, I thought it was mainly about digital pursuits like photography and web development and all of that, but there's so much more. There's fine arts, there's crafting. In fact, right now I'm taking an indoor gardening class by, I think it's Ekta Chaudhry, about houseplants and how to grow vegetables and herbs and houseplants in any setting. And I've learned that, yes, I am an overwaterer, which I kind of knew, but also I'm not amending my soil the way that I should based on the plant that I'm planting. But anyway, there's so much there to offer. Now, right now, Skillshare is offering my subscribers a very special deal. The first 1,000 of you that click the link down below will get a full free month to try out Skillshare and see if you like it before you continue on with your premium membership. So right now, like I said, it's a limited time only. Use the link in the video description below for a full free month. All their classes are like 60 minutes or shorter. They fit in any kind of schedule, and they all have a combination of a video lesson and a class project, and you can get feedback on all of that stuff from a community of millions of people. Be sure to use the link down below for a free month. Thank you so much, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video. It's sponsorships like yours that keep channels like mine on the air, and for that, I'm truly appreciative. All right, guys, so we're back, and it's time to do our scraping to get the bubbles off. As you can see, there's quite a bit of bubbles on top, and this is a thick, gelatinous, pudding-like mixture. So let me get a paper towel, hold on. So let's just come in here and just gently scrape off the top of this. Apparently these bubbles cause separation in the noodle, so you don't want that. You want a continuous strand of your noodle mixture as you're putting it in the water bath. And you'll see what I mean here in a moment. If you haven't watched, again, if you haven't watched Keto Asian Flavors video, please do that. It explains a lot of this, and then Steve does a fantastic job of discussing the molecular gastronomy science behind this. So the hard part is I've got this little bottle. This has got to go in here, and this is too thick to go through a funnel. I don't think I can push it through there. It just would sit in there like pudding. So I'm gonna painstakingly do it by hand, I guess. Oh, I got an idea. Okay, so that worked. All right, so that's what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna clean up all three of these, but all the recipes look basically the same. And we'll get them in their respective little condiment dispensers, and then we're gonna go to the bath. So, not the bathtub, the calcium citrate, calcium lactate bath. All right, I'll meet you right back here. All right, guys, we're back, and this is the fun part, or at least it's supposed to be the fun part, unless I've screwed it all up, which is possible, as you know, on this channel. I just wanted you to see the three different mixtures. This is our first one. Had a little bit of leftover. These make 4 servings, these recipes, 4 servings of pasta. This is the first one with the egg yolk powder. This one over here is the second one made with just whole eggs, and then this is Steve's Serious Keto with the canned chicken. So not very attractive, but I'm very excited about what seems to happen next. So let me get this out of the way. And this is our first recipe. This is 7 cups of water, just room temperature water. I guess temperature doesn't really matter. And then this is our calcium lactate, and this is about a tablespoon of that. And so this is our water bath. This builds the noodles. This is what creates the reaction that allows this spherification to occur. But we want to make sure that this is completely 100% dissolved before we start. All right, kids, so this is our dexterity test, I guess you could say. I'm going to move these out of the way. We'll test those in a minute. And this is our ramekin, food, I don't know why I say ramekin, condiment dispenser. And while stirring, create a vortex, and then you're going to start squeezing in wow. And then give it a break every few seconds so you don't create one gigantically long noodle. Wow. Oops. You got to keep going the same direction of your stir. Y'all, that is wild. Now, it's going to be real soft to begin with, apparently, and then what we'll do is it has to sit in the calcium bath for an hour to firm up to be pasta. But I mean, as you can see, there's a lot of little fiddly things, but there's not a whole lot of ingredients. They're just kind of unusual to us in the normal kitchen. But these are products that the world's greatest chefs have been using for a long time. Wow. So it just takes a little patience. I honestly think I could cut my... You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to widen the hole on the end of this because that pasta is a little thin for me. That's like angel hair instead of pescetti. Okay, that maybe gives me a little larger opening. So I'm just going to finish out this bottle here and then do the rest of these. Yeah, that's a little better shape for me. All right, so that's about all from that one. I want to touch it. I got to touch it. It's very soft, very gelatinous. So this is going to firm up. It has to sit in the calcium bath at a minimum of an hour, but he said it could stay in, like, you could just leave it in this indefinitely and store it in the refrigerator for like 5 days, I think. But we're gonna drain these out in an hour and then taste them so we can see how they compare to real pasta. So I'm gonna do the same thing if I can find some more large bowls. I'm gonna do the same thing with both of the other recipes. I'll speed it up so you can still see what I'm doing, but because it is very cool, I'm very excited about this. So I'll meet you back here at the end of this, and we'll test it all, and I'll give you my thoughts. All right. Okay guys, so here's all of ours ready to go. This is the first one, second recipe, and the chicken recipe. I forgot to mention, and I'm so frustrated because Steve showed a very nice tip of how to get the bubbles out of his mixture, and that was to push it through a sieve, a fine mesh sieve with a spatula. And I failed to do that, but the bubbles eventually rose to the top and we scraped them off. But I'm just frustrated that I lost my only opportunity to say, sift your chicken, y'all. Sift, y'all, sift your chicken. I will never get the chance to say that on camera again, I guess. So, doggone it, sift your chicken. All right, we're gonna let this sit for an hour. We're gonna come back and we're gonna taste them, and I'll let you know what I think. See you back here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, guys, we're back. It's been about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours now, and all of our pastas have been sitting in their little calcium baths. And I know which is which because if you remember correctly, look at that. If you remember correctly, the first one I did, this one, the original Keto Asian Flavors with the egg protein, or the egg yolk powder. I had to cut the tip off of the end of the, because it was just a little too thin. We were making angel hair pasta and not spaghetti, which is probably fine too. I mean, who can complain? So, impeccably clean hands. We've got to take these out of their baths and rinse them and see what happens. And just touching them, this is cooked spaghetti. This feels like cooked spaghetti floating in water. I cannot, honestly, I'm kind of just dumbfounded at how, how all this looks. So I'm going to put this in a strainer. Sift your chicken, y'all. I'm so mad I missed that. And then I'm going to rinse this under some cold water. So let's do that now. And I'm going to do this just right off camera. Okay. So here we go, y'all. This, this looks like spaghetti. What in tarnation? There's no odor at all. I don't smell anything. Doesn't smell like eggs. Doesn't smell like salt. Certainly doesn't smell like shirataki noodles and fish and that weird packing liquid. That is wild. Okay, I'm gonna rinse all of these and then let's taste them, okay? Hold on 1 second. Okay, so we are drained and all of that. So this is, again, our first recipe, and you can see the tiny little angel hair pastas I made with the original Wilton condiment. Look how long that is. And then I switched it and made it a little bit thicker, but that just shows that you can just change the shape of this to be whatever kind of pasta you want. The question is, what does it taste like? Does it taste like, this is the second one made out of whole eggs. This is the third one, Steve's, made out of chicken. And the chicken does have a chickeny smell. It's not bad. It's not off-putting at all. No smell at all. No smell at all. So this is my first time trying this. And I don't know if I should do it. Like, I'm not going to do it with the sauce because the sauce is, yeah, you can make anything taste good with the sauce. What does the pasta itself taste like? So, first one, let's roll it up. You can roll it up like pasta. Y'all, it really even, hold on. This is why you should, that's why you should stop the squeeze every few seconds while you're doing it so you can, but like, let's see. It gives, like that is resistance and snap like a fresh pasta. No flavor at all. Doesn't feel squeaky and rubbery like shirataki. Al dente. Has some bite, has some give. Your tooth hits it. Al dente means to the tooth. Feels like pasta. Feels like firm pasta. No flavor at all. Perfect vehicle for ramen, for butter and Parmesan, for olive oil and spices, for spaghetti, a marinara sauce. Like, I'm kind of in shock. This felt like a lot of work to me while filming this, but that was because I was making 3 different recipes. If I just chose one of these and did it, it wouldn't be messy or difficult. This one was probably a little more expensive because the Eggylicious egg yolk powder can be pricey, but I ain't mad at that at all. I can't wait to put some sauce on that and be done with it. Okay, so none of this again has turmeric, so we're just seeing the color of the eggs. This is a whole egg with 2 whole eggs. And how does the texture feel? I got my... Oh, it's just the same. It's just the same. There's give and snap there. But it's fine. If there were a sauce on that, I would have you would be hard pressed to be like, I mean, you would know you'd be like, you didn't cook your pasta long enough. But also, I'm just going to note that there is a softening step of after you rinse it, putting it in a little bit of lemon juice and baking soda that obviously foams up like a volcano in elementary school, right? Acid and base. To soften this and make it a little more, but she didn't show that in the video. And no person I've ever seen do it in videos, like 4 or 5 or 6 channels have already done this and tried it. Nobody softened it. So maybe that's a key to softening it, but that's not a problem for me at all right now, as it is. Now here, this smells like chicken. If I were making some ramen though, I would have all of this, right? But I mean, I make lasagna out of chicken, deli sliced chicken. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a link up to it up here. A lot of people do. So this is the chicken one. Let's see how it feels. Hold on. This is the most interesting thing I have ever done or seen in my own kitchen. This one doesn't feel as tight. Doesn't taste like chicken. Very faint canned chicken odor. And there's not a lot of ingredients to this, but this is interesting. Okay. Okay, here's what I'm going to tell you. After filming these and making 3 full recipes, I'm almost completely out of sodium alginate, and I'm almost halfway out of my calcium lactate, and I will be reordering. This is remarkably like real pasta. And apparently it keeps easily in the fridge. You can just like take this out of its bath and just put this in like, you know, an airtight container. And then when it's already cooked, you don't cook this. So when you go to make a recipe, you can just warm this up in the microwave or on the stove, and add some pasta sauce to it. Or you can cook it in a broth. If you're making ramen or any kind of Asian soup that's noodle soup, you can, or just chicken noodle soup, whatever. Put some chicken noodles in it and make, y'all. This is the most interesting thing I have discovered in a long time. I'm excited about this. I'm super excited about this. So there you have it, folks. Low carb keto pasta. All of these are about 0.2 to 0.4 grams of net carbs per serving. That is insane. And it doesn't have the weird texture and stink of shiitake noodles. So I think that's a win in my book. So guys, I say it every time. These videos are a way for me to maintain my low carb way of eating, and looking into that camera as often as I can helps keep me honest So I appreciate that you have come along for the journey. If you are new here, please be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. If you're not new here or you just haven't been here in a while, make sure you've hit the bell button down below so that you'll know as soon as I've released a new video. I've been sick for the last few weeks and haven't put out as many videos, and the algorithm and YouTube is punishing me for all of that. But if you guys will just hit the like button, it'll let YouTube know that they should share this video with other people who like similar content. And lastly, I need to thank my rock stars, my Patreon members. You'll see their names scrolling here. If you don't know what Patreon is, think of it as the tip jar for the internet. It allows people like you who enjoy what people like me do here on YouTube, and you can give $1 or $2 a month just to keep the train on the tracks, as it were. But it keeps the Highfalutin Test Kitchen in working order, and for that I am truly appreciative. Without this, I couldn't have done it, so thank you to all of them. I love you guys. I will see you very soon for another low carb video. Bye-bye.